What is up, everybody? Welcome back into another episode of Tide Talk Live. Stacey Blackwood, joined as always by my good buddy Jake Thomas. Jake, what's happening, brother? How you doing on this Super Bowl Sunday?
Man, doing great. Just being relaxed in the day, getting ready for that Super Bowl. Don't really have a stake in the fire in this game. I'm probably gonna watch it because it is football. But just quick opinion. I think we've already talked about it, but I think the Chiefs are going to win. I think you took 49ers. Personally, I want the 49ers to win, but I just think the Chiefs are going to do it just because of the NFL script. But anyway, that other than
Yeah,
that, I'm doing great, man.
yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, we could go into a deep rabbit hole on that conversation.
Right.
I will say this. I do want the 49ers to win, but it is hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I mean, they
Mhm.
just find ways to win in these games, whether it's scripted or not. The
Right.
Chiefs just seem to find a way. So we'll see how that goes today. Kick off
Mhm.
at 5:30 this afternoon Central Time. So looking forward to that game and even the halftime show with Usher, somebody that was very
Yeah.
popular when we were kids. So
Mhm.
looking forward to that
Yeah,
as well. I think Reba McEntire's doing the national anthem this year.
I think
So
so. Yep.
exciting day. Looking forward to that here in just a little while. But
Mhm.
we are recording this on Sunday afternoon at around, I don't know, 2:30 in the afternoon.
Mhm.
We just wanted to get an episode out today and just kind of talk about this Alabama men's basketball team and what Nate Oats has done so far this season. And there's 8 games left on the schedule. No, 7 games left on the schedule now
Mhm.
before the SEC tournament. So Alabama's right in the thick of it, of potentially winning a regular season SEC title once again. So we're
Mhm.
going to talk about all that here in just a minute. But as always, please do like, share, and subscribe today, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to Tide Talk Live. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode here on our YouTube channel. And if you do listen to us on Apple, leave us that 5-star written review as well. And we would greatly appreciate that. Part of the Believe Network. Excited to be with those guys over there. Jake, first of all, Alabama gets the big win on Saturday against LSU on the road. They had back-to-back road games, one at Auburn, one at LSU. They go 1-1. I think most people would have said that was probably what they were going to be
Yeah.
anyway, heading into that stretch. So, did anything really surprise you yesterday in yesterday's game against LSU?
I just the resiliency that the team had. I mean, they were up pretty much the entire game. About around the 10-minute mark in the second half, they got down one, I believe, but
Hmm.
they just continued, to fight back and claw back and didn't let themselves get rattled and they come away and scored 109 points. That's the second time they've done that against LSU this year. And the other thing is, I don't know exactly what's going on, you know, mentally with Nick Pringle, but when he's on the court, we really need him in this last stretch. So hopefully, what he can get everything mentally, out of the way because, when he's on the court, he brings a little bit different, style that we need right now. He had a great game, and I was glad to see it because I feel like that's going to help him grow a little bit, having some big games like this.
Yeah, getting Pringle into the game yesterday was really the turning point for Alabama.
Mhm.
Will Baker was just abusing Grant Nelson
Yeah.
early on in that contest, and once Nick Pringle entered the game, Baker really slowed down a lot. Now give Baker credit; he was just on
Yeah.
fire in the first half. I mean, he
Yeah.
couldn't miss, whether it was mid range, in the post, or from the 3-point line. So give him credit. But I thought Nick Pringle kind of stopped the bleeding a little bit defensively
Right.
yesterday. And look, the defense still has a long ways to go. They're not as good as what they need to be to probably win a championship, like I'm talking about NCAA championship. But right now, with the way this team plays offensively and their ability to get buckets just over and over again, they're going to play with anybody in the country, Jake, and they're going to have a chance to win. If their defense can just, you know, put together 3 or 4 stops in a row,
Mhm.
that allows your offense to build a lead. And if Alabama can do that, they have a chance to beat anybody. So really excited to see what this team can do over the final 7 games of the season, and then obviously heading into the SEC tournament. But what we want to focus on today, Jake, is looking at the remainder of the schedule here in the regular season because it's not easy, Jake. And
No.
I'm gonna get that pulled up here and hopefully everybody can see that real good. But Obviously, Alabama gets a week off now, Jake. They played yesterday. They don't play again until this upcoming Saturday back at home inside Coleman Coliseum against the Texas A&M team that just beat Tennessee. So they're a team that's capable of beating good opponents. So you look at Tennessee or Texas A&M and you look at Florida, both games at home. I think if you want to win an SEC championship in the regular season, Jake, you better hold serve at home. So
Mhm.
I think winning the next two games are pivotal if Alabama was to win the SEC.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. Just looking at that stretch there, Florida they just whooped Auburn yesterday as well, and that Tuesday March 5th game at Auburn that is really the one I'm going to circle that that may be the pivotal key that game there on what happens you know if we win out the regular season. So Florida at home is tough, but yeah, Alabama needs to beat A&M, and they need to play a great game against Tennessee at home as well, just to try to revenge what happened earlier in the season at Tennessee. Of course, going on the road and beating anybody's tough, but I feel like the remaining games that's the two that I'm really hung on is those two back-to-back games: Tennessee at home and then at Florida on the road.
Yeah, I think that's where my eyes gravitate to as well. Obviously playing at Kentucky won't be easy, but Jake, this Kentucky team,
Mhm.
they just can't seem to put together any wins. They've lost 3 straight games
At home,
inside of
yeah,
Rupp Arena.
that's crazy.
So, look, but I have no doubt that here in a couple weeks when Alabama rolls into town,
Oh yeah.
that they're going to be ready to play, especially if Alabama has won back-to-back games and they're sitting there with a maybe a comfortable lead in the SEC standings. Kentucky's going to want to take them down. So
Right.
Alabama better show up ready to play, and then Ole Miss is one of those sneaky good teams, Jake. But the truth is, Alabama's better than A&M. But Alabama's better than Florida. They're better than
Mhm.
Kentucky, and they're better than Ole Miss.
Right.
So they should win those games, Jake. Now
And
it's
they're
net
better
it's
Arkansas.
yeah, and they're better than
Yeah.
Arkansas, which is
Mhm.
the last game of the year. They've
Mhm.
really struggled this season. But
Mhm.
the truth is, Jake, like you said, I'm looking at March 2nd and March
Mhm.
5th. Those
Yep.
two games back to back. You can't go 0-2 there. You
No.
can't. If you go 0-2 there, then you're looking at best you're 14-4 in the SEC if you win the other games. So
Mhm.
you have to. I think you have to hold serve at home. That's 4 games at home. You win those 4 games, and you're sitting at 13-2. Then, depending on what you do on the road, Jake, you have a chance to win the SEC. I think if you can go 14-4, you
Mhm.
win. You're going to at least hold a share of the SEC regular season title.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. And you know, if you go 0-2 on those two games we talked about, March 2nd, March 5th, you better win those top four. The previous four there. They're
Right.
almost like a must win. So I think those two games, like we mentioned, is ones that we need to circle because those. I feel like we could clinch it right there in those two games if we come out strong and win those two games.
Well, I'll say this, Jake. I think if Alabama wins the first 4 matchups, if they win against A&M, against Florida, Kentucky, and Ole Miss, heading into that Tennessee game, Jake,
Hmm.
that perhaps you're playing for if you win, at worst you share the SEC regular season title. So
Right.
I'm looking at March 2nd as potentially the day that Alabama either earns the outright SEC title or at least a share of it. So
Mm.
I think the first 4 games, obviously, you need to win those, and I'm not taking any of them for granted because Alabama could certainly lose any of them
Right. Yep.
because the SEC is tough. They're all really good teams. I mean, we saw what both Florida and Texas A&M are capable of yesterday, getting big
Hmm.
wins. Texas A&M, both teams playing at home, getting wins over Tennessee and Auburn. So those are 2 really good teams, and you better show up ready to play, or they will bite you in the rear end if you're not careful. And we all know what playing on the road is like in the SEC, whether it's at Kentucky or at Ole Miss. You better come ready to play. But one thing that I like about Nate Oats and his teams at Alabama, especially this year, Jake, they might have lost some games to some high quality teams. You go back to losing to Purdue and Creighton, Arizona, losing to Auburn on the road, losing to Tennessee on the road. I mean, those none of those are bad losses.
No.
So my point is Alabama has beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and that's what good teams do.
Right.
So that's a real positive for me in terms of what Nate Oats and Alabama have done this season.
Yeah, they, that's what Nate Oats likes to do. He likes to play those early non-conference games that are tough to build up for a run in the SEC, and we've seen it ever since he's been at Alabama. Not only does it build chemistry between the team in the SEC, conference, it also does it with tournament time as well in the NCAA tournament. So, you know, man, I know we would like to had a couple of those wins this year. But from the team we saw early in December to now, it's a totally different team. And this team is capable. If everything goes, right, this team can make an Elite Eight to Final Four run. I do feel like that.
Well, their offense is good
Mhm.
enough to beat anybody. I mean,
Right.
they're the best offensive team in the country,
Yep.
and if they're not, they're second. So
Yeah.
in terms of efficiency, it's them and Purdue. And Purdue kind of has a cheat code with the 8 foot tall Zach Edey. So,
Who
but
never
as
gets called for anything.
yeah, I mean, who gets every favorable call you can imagine. But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
What Alabama's able to do offensively is just it's incredible. The way they
Yeah.
move the ball, everybody's a capable shooter. The way Wrightsell's playing right now, the way Rylan
Yeah.
Griffin has played in the SEC, we all know how good Mark Sears is. And what's kind of crazy is that Grant Nelson has yet to be that offensive weapon that many thought he would be.
Right.
So, you know, is there potential for this offense to even get better if he were to find his rhythm, especially shooting from the outside? So, this team offensively is going to keep them in every game. It's just about putting together enough stops defensively to beat those really good teams.
Yeah, and don't forget Jaron Stevenson as well, man. He's come on this
Yeah.
year late, and he's a true freshman. I mean, he's the freshman that we have on this team is playing really good ball right now, and it complements with the older guys, the veterans as well. Because and another guy that I really like to see have a great season so far is, like you said, Rylan Griffin. He kind of struggled with his shot last year, but man, he's pretty much automatic right now. Anytime he gets the ball, he's putting it up, and it's going in nearly, it seems like. So really happy for him. I feel like he may need another year of seasoning, so hopefully he'll come back next year and not get kind of like the Bediako plan where somebody lies to him and he doesn't get drafted. So hopefully he'll come back, because I think honestly that kid is going to have a good career in the NBA. He just needs another year, I feel like.
Well, the Bediako thing, he did get some bad advice, but a lot of it had to do with NIL, Jake. With
Yeah.
him being a Canadian, they have certain laws there that limit what he's able to get from NIL,
Hmm.
and that had a big impact on his decision to go ahead and go pro. So just want to
Right.
put that out there. But uh, looking at the SEC standings, Jake, and uh, it's so there's still a lot to be played. There
Hmm.
really is, and Alabama's right up there at the top, tied with South Carolina. Really, Alabama has the lead because they own the tiebreaker over South
Right.
Carolina. But both teams with 9-2 records, Auburn 8-3, Tennessee 7-3. Do you think teams with 4 losses already in conference play, do you think they're basically eliminated from being able to win the SEC regular season title?
Uh, it depends on how they play. I mean, A&M's gets Alabama. Florida also still has Alabama, so they have a chance to make up ground. Uh, and Kentucky as well. I would say they still may have a shot. It's a long shot, but I would say your top four, your Tennessee, Auburn, South Carolina, Alabama are the four you need to keep your eye on. Would probably either share or outright win the regular season turn or championship.
Yeah, so we looked at Alabama's schedule a minute ago, Jake. What do you think their record will be over the final 7 games?
Uh, I would like to like you says, hold court and at home, win all the home games, and then you're left with what, 4 away games, so 3. So if you win 2 of those 3, I think you outright win the regular season tournament.
So you think 14-4 would win
Hmm.
the SEC? I think so
Yeah,
too. I
I do
think you
too.
at least win a share of it.
Yep.
And I think Alabama's probably going to go 5-2 over the excuse me, over the last 7 games, and finish 14-4 in the SEC. What would that put them overall? Uh,
That's 7-2.
they'd be 23
Yeah,
and 9, right?
9. Yep. Yep.
So yeah, I mean 22-9, 22
22
wins.
9. Yep.
That's a pretty good year, Jake, considering what Alabama lost last year.
Yeah,
Are
it is.
heading into this season, Jake.
Mhm.
10 new players, all new assistants, and all Nate Oats has done is put them right in the thick of it to win the SEC once again. So what a job Nate Oats has done at Alabama, Jake.
And I can't say enough about it. We talk about him, extensively about we need to do what we can to keep him here because he has re rejuvenized that basketball program. Alabama's all historically has been a very good basketball school as well, but it was kind of lacking there for several years. And now it's getting rejuvenated again because you know 15 years ago, we was happy to win a game 49-46. We had really good defenses, but we couldn't score to save our lives or on anything. We would go, 8-10 minute stretches without or scoring a single point unless it's a free throw. We don't have that problem no more, man, under Nate
Right.
Oats. I mean, it is, shoot and like yesterday they was talking about it. One of the times we grabbed a defensive rebound, we got it up court and shot within like the first 5 or 6 seconds of the shot clock. I mean, it's run and gun. Just it's amazing. It's incredible and it's fun. I mean, you
Yeah.
you can hear the fans at home. I mean, the student section loves it, and it's not boring. It's just fun to watch that type of basketballs, and that's what Nate Oats has brought to Alabama.
Yeah, the way Alabama runs up and down the court, it puts so much pressure on
Mhm.
the opposing team's defense. And I was a little bit surprised in yesterday's game against LSU that LSU tried to run with Alabama.
Right.
And
Mhm.
I don't know if you noticed it or not, but that's what wore Baker down.
It was.
Baker
Yep.
was toast at the 4-minute mark in the first half. He was done for
Yeah.
the rest of the game. He had
Yeah.
no more energy
Nope.
because
It didn't.
LSU tried to run with him, and he's not used to playing that style of basketball. So that surprised me a little bit.
Mhm.
And Alabama's ability to hit shots, especially when they need to hit shots, like you mentioned, LSU goes up one, then Alabama gets a 35-foot uh, alley oop to Rylan Griffin from Aaron Estrada, and then the
Yeah.
next possession down, Wrightsell hits a three, and the next possession down, Griffin hits a three. I think it's in that order. And
Yeah.
before you know it, went from being down one to up seven in a
Yeah.
blink of an eye,
Just like that.
and it's just and then the game's over. I mean,
Yeah.
you've made all the runs you can make if you're LSU, and in a matter of 30 seconds, Alabama's put 8 points on you, and you're down by 7, and you're gassed. And so
Mhm.
just the amount of weapons they have offensively, whether it's Wrightsell, Sears, Estrada, Griffin.
Mhm.
You look at what Jaron Stevenson can do, Sam Walters can do off the bench.
Mhm.
Mo Diabate does a great job of playing tough defense and rebounding the basketball for us. So Nick Pringle was supreme yesterday coming off the bench. So just the depth of this team, and especially on the offensive end of the floor, their ability just to get buckets.
Mhm.
They're going to be in every game, and like I've said, they just gotta generate some stops defensively, and if they do that, they're capable of beating anybody in the country.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey, and that's why I made a comment earlier about getting Nick Pringle back. Really, Alabama's Achilles heel is under the rim. We don't have a really big rim protector. Everybody on the team can rebound. I mean, Mark Sears had 9 rebounds the other night against Auburn. So I mean, he's the point guard. Everybody on the team can rebound, but we need somebody with a physical presence. Not get pushed around. And I love Grant Nelson, but you can see they try to use him at the 5 a good bit, and he gets pushed around by bigger guys. So getting Pringle back, Pringle is not a what you call a rim protector, but he is a little bit more physical, and
Mhm.
maybe he can step in against some of the bigger guys on what Grant Nelson can't. So I think if we can get him mentally right, he's going to be a big piece moving forward, especially getting the tournament time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Alabama needs Nick Pringle. He
Mhm.
ain't gotta put up 15 points
No.
every game, but he needs to be he needs to be that physical paint presence, like you said. It's really not even about the numbers that he puts up. It's
Mhm.
just about being in the post and defending the rim.
Right.
And he's not an elite rim defender like Bediako was or anything like that, but he's physical enough to make that opposing offensive player think twice. And
Yep.
that's all you need. That's all you
Mhm.
need is that split second, to maybe get the help over there or to make the extra rotation, whatever it is. And I think Nick Pringle, if he can continue to play at a high level for Alabama, that gives them a great opportunity to not only make a run here as February goes on, but also in March when the tournament gets here. So this team definitely has a lot that they can do and accomplish this season. And I'll just be honest with you, even if they don't win the outright SEC title this year, Jake, I'm extremely pleased with the job Nate Oats done this year. Like we said, considering all that was lost from last year's team, 2 first-round picks. Brandon Miller's proven to be one of the best rookies in the NBA. I mean, outside of whatever his name is, Victor Wembanyama,
Yeah.
he's the best rookie. Continuing to play at a high level. You lose Noah Clowney, then you lose every one of your stinking assistant coaches to
Mhm.
D1 jobs. That just don't happen.
No, don't.
I mean, that don't happen to programs like Duke or Kentucky.
Mm-mm.
But what that says is that there's other programs around the country that are saying, I really like what Nate Oats is building at Alabama. I want my program to look like that.
Mhm.
And so you hire a Petway, you hire a Hodgson. So just man, the job that Nate Oats has done this season in particular is just incredible. And I hope Alabama does everything they can to hold on to him.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. And coming into this season, I really wasn't expecting a deep run in the NCAA tournament just for what, like you said, what we lost and losing the assistant coaches who built relationships with the players. But this team has improved. Now, starting that early December stretch, I was like, man, this team, yeah, they're still going to be a tournament team, but I was not expecting. I was like, if you said there's going to be a 3 seed potentially, and I would laugh in your face. I'd be like, I'd be lucky to be an 8 to 10 seed, but
Right.
they're projected to be a 3 seed, and I mean that's incredible for what we have lost and what it happened since the early December run. So man, what an incredible job by Nate Oats. And if this guy, if Greg Byrne, I know you're doing your best to try to get that arena built, but if Nate Oats comes to your office tomorrow and asks for a raise, give it to him. You got to give
Well,
it to him.
yeah, I think Alabama is going to get the arena as soon as NIL is taken care of.
I agree. I
Right
agree.
now, Nate Oats is saying, "Hey, give me the money for NIL. We'll
Hmm.
worry about the arena later."
Yep, I
And
agree.
and and you talk about early in the season, we were thinking, man, the truth is, I was thinking, I just want them to make the tournament.
Yeah, I know.
Now, Jake, according to ESPN's BPI, Alabama has the fourth best chance of winning the national championship.
Who's the top three?
Houston, Purdue, and Arizona. Right now,
Houston.
Alabama has a better percentage chance of winning the national championship than UConn.
Wow.
Alabama's chance is at 6.8%, and UConn's is at 6.1. Auburn is right behind them at 5.3. So
Okay.
the computers love Alabama. They do.
Like you said, Alabama's statistically, Alabama's offense is the best in the country. It's just that defense. If that defense can get shored up, which is getting better each and
It
every
is getting
game.
better. It is
Yeah.
getting better, Jake. And I'll say this.
Hmm.
I think right now they're around 77th in defensive efficiency.
Hmm.
If by the time the NCAA tournament gets here, if they're at 60 or below, it would not shock me to see this team make a deep run.
Hmm. Yep. I agree.
And because the intensity goes up anyway when you get into March Madness. So I think just from that standpoint, they'll be a little better defensively in the tournament. And Jake, when you can make shots like Alabama, I mean, you put some pressure on the opposing team because they know they have to score.
Right. Yep.
I mean, even though Alabama may not be elite defensively, when you play Alabama, you know that you have to score because they're going to score.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just the pressure that the Alabama offense puts on the opposing team cannot be overstated.
Well, I saw a stat after the game yesterday. I can't remember exactly. You may know what it is, Stacey, but like from 2005 to or 2009 to now, like only 13 times has a team scored over 100 points, and Alabama's done it 8 times this year alone,
Yeah.
or something like that. I mean, it is an incredible stat. I mean, you talk about putting up numbers. I mean, it's unheard of to hear 100 points, especially against a big time program. I'm not saying LSU's a big time program, but I mean, you usually put up 100 points against like, you know, Faulkville High School, whenever you play teams like that, not against an SEC caliber team. And Alabama's
Mhm.
done that to several teams this year.
Yeah. I mean, they're averaging 90 points a game, Jake. 90.3 points per game.
That's incredible.
It
I
really
mean,
is. It really is.
and I mean, just anybody that, like you said, coming off the bench as well can hit a three. I mean, there's no rest if you're if you're trying to defend this as an opposing player or a coach, because you bring in the next five and they can all make threes. And like, when do we get a break? Come on, Nate. You gotta give us a shot. You
Yeah.
know.
It's crazy.
Hmm.
But Jake, unless you have anything else to add, I think that's going to wrap up our show, kind of discussing this Alabama men's basketball team and the chance they have to maybe win the SEC regular season title once again, and what potential run they can make in March Madness. And just excited about this team and this program and the direction that it's going under Nate Oats.
Yeah, man, we're excited about it. This is mainly a basketball podcast or show, but we also got softball coming up now. Big weekend for the girls. They had a great weekend. I think it went 5-0 in the
Mhm.
weekend, and had a triple play. Man,
Yeah.
what an incredible
Yeah,
performance for this.
started by local product. We
Yeah.
Larissa Pruitt from Hartselle.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So that was incredible to see. But we got a lot to talk about here. Of course, football is the king around here. We got a lot of more to talk about that as well. But we're going to give love to the other teams as well once their season starts going.
yeah, we have plenty
Mhm.
of time to talk about all the football stuff going on, and
Mhm.
obviously Ryan Grubb is going to the Seahawks, and
Yeah.
we'll talk more about that here in a couple days. But I don't think that's anything Tide fans should concern themselves about.
Yep.
Kalen DeBoer is the mastermind behind that offense, so just
Hmm.
keep that in mind.
Yeah, 100%. And we'll be back to talk about who might be the offense coordinator, because I assume that'll probably be announced sooner rather than later.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It will. I'm sure he's not going to waste much time at all in
Mhm.
doing so.
Yep.
But guys, that's going to wrap up this episode of Tide Talk Live. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether it's in podcast form or here on YouTube. We certainly appreciate your support, and I think we're closing in on 2,700 subscribers. So help us get there. Help us get to 3,000. There's no reason that we can't be at 3,000 here pretty soon. So we appreciate all the support, guys. Make sure you do like, share, and subscribe to the channel today. Jump in the comments below here on YouTube and let us know what you think Alabama's men's basketball team will finish in the SEC regular season. Will they win that SEC regular season title once again under Nate Oats? But that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.